happening really fast in this world. And if somebody is trying to disrupt those services, who will disrupt those services? Attackers, hackers. We have a whole set of people, their rival companies, so many things are there. Right. So they are basically disrupting your services, where they are making your services not available. It is a breach of availability. So confidentiality, integrity, availability, in whatever form it is attacked, it is a breach of CIA trade. Apart from that, there are few small other things. Non-repudiation. I have sent an email and then I deny that. Can I deny that? Generally, I'll have my signatures, because we are using signatures. We will not be, that is non-repudiation. And then, again, unauthorized accesses we are limiting through authentication. How do you authenticate? You have login passwords, you have pins, you have biometrics, different forms of things are there for these things. So hacker trying to break into a bank system, breach of confidentiality. Phishing email asking for password, again breach of confidentiality. Malware infecting a computer, integrity issue, because it is changing the data on your, it is trying to modify or destroying your system. It is integrity. And all these are handled by using cybersecurity techniques. I'll give you a glimpse of all the techniques that are available as of now in literature, and then we'll move to the part of how they can be enhanced with AI. When it comes to security, these are the various forms of security, major forms. I'll not say these are the only forms. You have network security, you have application security, information security, cloud security, endpoint security, IoT security. So let us start with the first one, network security. Anything that is there on the network, the hubs, switches, network traffic, everything has to be protected from what possible type of attacks can you have on network? DDoS attacks, distributed denial of service attacks. What happens? Amazon gets 10,000 requests per second. On some day, if it has 50,000 requests per second, it is denial of service attack. It is a breach of availability. Then man in the middle attack. A is sending email to B. In between, if C is trying to get access to the email. How? Yeah, you have various attacking techniques. Right? If C is trying, then it is man in the middle attack. Replay attack also comes there. Right? I have sent 100 rupees to A, have sent 100 rupees to B as a bank transaction. The same transaction, if it is again repeated, then it is a replay attack. Right? So it is trying to deduct another 100 rupees from A's account, which should not be happening. Then network intrusion. Intrusion detection we discussed in the earlier session also, right? Where intruders try to attack through through malicious packets, various other forms. Packet sniffing. What is packet sniffing? Whatever data A sends to B, I send an email. Email doesn't go as it is like that. It goes in the form of packets. Now, I try to retrieve some information by sniffing the packets, packet header data, packet sizes, number of packets, or based on that, I try to get some information. So these are all the possible possible attacks on network security. What are the possible tools that you have to avoid them or to resist them? Firewalls, intrusion detection systems, intrusion protection systems, virtual private networks. Wireshark is another tool. While the other are techniques, Wireshark is a tool. It will help us in packet sniffing, network intrusion detection, and all these things. That is about network security. Then comes application security. Application security is supposed to provide security to various applications, web applications, mobile applications. How many applications do you have in your mobile phone? Have you ever counted them? How many applications do you have in your mobile phone? I'll bet you it's more than 50, 90, right? So how much data are you giving to those applications? Imagine how much, see, we will be careful with our banking data. At most, of all the apps that you have in your mobile phone, what is that password you will be really careful with? Probably your banking app data. Then what else do you have? The other apps we really don't bother much. Probably for email app, Gmail app is there. We that password also we by default remember it. You don't give a password every time, right? But then what other apps do you have in your mobile? Apps like MedPlus, Apollo, and all, where you will be ordering various medicines on a regular basis, either for you, your parents, your family members, which is giving you the medical history of your family. You don't have great protection for those apps. Then apps like Instamart, Zepto, Big Basket, where your regular groceries are ordered. Based on that, I can give a pattern of on how many days you are living in that house and how many days you are out of the. You order your milk through milk basket, and then you stop your order for 5 days. What does that indicate? It can indicate multiple things. One possible indication is that you are out of your house for 5 days, right? And then what other apps? Your Uber app, your Ola app, your Google Maps app. So many apps reveal lot of information to you. Right. It's not that only our mobile banking app PIN is the only thing that we need to secure. If somebody gets access to all these apps in your data, they can create a pattern of your life. Based on the groceries that you order, based on the milk packets that you order, based on the medicines that you order, based on the number of trips that you make through Ola and Uber. I'm not talking about the regular secure apps like Gmail. I'm not talking about your banking app and all, which we in general consider to be very secure. So all these apps need to be secure. What are the threats? SQL injection. You try to have SQL queries to those apps and try to retrieve the information. Then cross-site scripting, API attacks, malware injection. We generally see our desktop being affected with malware, our laptop being affected with malware. Have you ever heard of your mobile phone being affected with malware? That will happen. So what are the mechanisms that we have? We have static code analysis. People will be able to scan your phone and tell what are the possible things. Your phone itself have some antivirus apps or security apps to defend these attacks. Dynamic tools. Web application firewall will be there, which will ask you for credentials to connect only to legalized or authorized portals. Then information security, broadly data security also. Anything, database documents, customer data, research data. When I talk about customer data, I refer to all the data that I have told earlier. It's not only your financial data that is to be secured. It's not only your healthcare data that needs. Every data of yours. You may think that I'm not giving so much of data into that thing, right? Okay, your mobile data, your banking data is something that you are revealing, not revealing. But then now you have these e-wallets also, where we keep our, what you call, the RC, driving license and all in a soft copy form, DigiLocker. Then your identity cards are being given in soft copy. All this data, it is there on our mobile, right? And you need to have protection from data theft, data leakage, and all the CIA things that I have referred to. So generally, what are the techniques that we have? Encryption, both symmetric encryption, asymmetric encryption, access control, login. Access control is not only for giving login ID and password, but giving control of how much data can I access in that particular organization or in that particular institute. Being a faculty of teaching a certain number of subjects, I have access only to those students, to their data, not to the, each and every detail of that particular student. Again, their attendance, their marks is what I am related to. Do I get access to their personal data? Do I get access to their fees? Do I get access to their scholarships? Again, no. And all of this is defined through access controls. You have role-based access controls. We'll come to that. And then hashing for integrity, signatures for non-repudiation, all these things. So basically all of them are cryptographic techniques. They come under cryptography. Then cloud security. Now you are not storing your data in your mobile. You are not storing your data in your desktop. You are keeping it on cloud. How safe is that cloud? Is it managed by you? No. Is it managed? Suppose say University of Hyderabad's entire data is kept on cloud. University of Hyderabad generally will not manage that data. It is managed by some third party. We generally, to be on a safer side, we call them as trusted third party. We are trusting them. But don't you think that trust will be 100%? Are you sure that trust will be there for infinite amount of time? We don't know. There can be many breaches on that cloud. So misconfigured cloud storage, data breaches, unauthorized access and all. So we have techniques like identity access management, cloud firewall, cloud monitoring, especially for data that was kept on clouds. We have techniques such as homomorphic encryption and all, attribute-based encryption to ensure only the respective users decrypt the data, but not anyone. Then endpoint security, device security. See, your devices need to be secured from malware, ransomware, trojans, phishing. You know, our kids, if they start playing video games and all, you don't know to what portals and all they link to. So antivirus is one thing that we generally have in all our devices. The other one is endpoint detection and response tools, AI-based endpoint security. AI-based endpoint security, we have to tell at the end. Then IoT security. IoT security is different, slightly different from devices security, the earlier endpoint security, where IoT security is referring to those devices that are resource constrained. Small sensors, small RFID tags that are used in IoT networks. Right, the same techniques that you have told in the earlier line will not apply to them. But you have to protect them from IoT botnets. Your DDoS attacks all happen through botnets only. Device hijacking, data theft and all, and you have respective. So this is the whole thing that we need to protect. When I am talking about cyber security, I'm not talking about, see, that way cryptography is very simple. I have data, I have to protect it. Apply some encryption, apply some integrity hashing techniques, signature techniques, fine. But when it comes to cyber security, it implies security of so many things, and you don't have one single solution to protect all of them. You don't have one single tool to protect all of them. You don't have one single technique to protect all of this. So different things need different mechanisms for protection. So I'll just quickly go through cyber security techniques. We already discussed encryption. We have symmetric encryption, DES, AES, asymmetric RSA, ECC. Authentication verifies who the user is. How do we do that? We give password, we give PIN, we give biometrics, so many things. Multi-factor authentication is coming nowadays because so that we ensure that your password or PIN is not compromised. So your password followed by OTP, password followed by some CAPTCHA identification, multi-factor authentication techniques are there. And then firewalls for network security, where it acts as a barrier between your network and the outer world. So then you have intrusion detection and protection, both prevention techniques. Intrusion detection, prevention, network security, firewalls are for network security. The earlier encryption, multi-factor authentication is for data security. Then antivirus, anti-malware is for device security. Then access control. Access control is to protect your data from unauthorized access. Network monitoring, again for network security. Security information and event management. This is a tool that is in general has a larger scope in cyber security. Penetration testing, patch management are again prevention techniques. if you want to summarize, there are so many techniques. See, I have seen given some 12, 13 techniques, but are they all? No. You have so many techniques. But if you want me to classify them, these are the cybersecurity techniques. These are preventive techniques which will prevent an attack from happening. You encrypt your data is relatively safe compared to a non-encrypted or a unencrypted data. So firewalls also, without firewalls, anything can come into your network. You are trying to stop them. This is like a fence to your house sort of thing. Access control, parchment, these are prevention techniques. And then these are, despite having prevention techniques, sometimes malicious users, malicious data enter into your device and network. Then detection techniques, we call this as a golden hour technique. So what happens, that detection, the sooner it gets detected, the lesser will be the damage. You detect 3 days after, all your data is gone. Yes, please. Yes. So intrusion detection techniques, SIEM, log monitoring, behavioral analytics. So prevention, detection techniques. Despite having prevention, your network devices are bound to get attacked. So the sooner you detect them, the better. So generally detection techniques are mostly monitoring devices. They keep constantly monitoring your network, constantly monitoring your data transfers, constantly scanning your devices for any sort of possible intrusion detection. Then intrusion happen. Then what do? You go for correction techniques. How do I correct? You do the incident response, malware removal, system recovery, all these. There are various techniques under these categories. And then you have to have deterrent techniques as well. What are deterrent techniques? Now that this particular attack has happened, you need to modify your security policy. You need to upgrade your security policy. Probably users need to be made aware of the possible hazards of such an intrusion, not the possible hazards, the possible preventive techniques, right? Why did multi-factor authentication came? Earlier it was not there. There are a lot of attacks with that single password thing, right? People are compromising it. So multi-factor came. So users need to be trained on possible deterrent techniques. Legal controls has to be there. Then eventually recovery techniques. Have backup data recovery technique.
For SQL injections, which technique?
For SQL injection to stop or to prevent?
Stop. No, that is injection means that will spam.
Monitoring device. If you have to detect that but SQL injection technique, you have to have detection monitoring techniques, right? Then how do you detect it? You again have basic patterns for SQL injection queries. Right.
Go through database.
Exactly, right. So see, if somebody is trying to, sir, that doesn't have one single thing. You need to have constant monitoring techniques to identify if a particular SQL injection is out of the pattern, out of the regular pattern. I am a faculty. I access 2-3 courses. I am asking data of the students, data of the particular attendance of the particular students or marks of the students. If I am asking for a payroll, that is supposed to be unauthorized access. It could be I'm not even asking, somebody is asking from my address, somebody has hacked my email ID, anything can be. So monitoring the pattern of the queries is one important. After that, you have deterrent techniques. So all the techniques that we have told till now is existing techniques. Now we are looking at advanced cyber techniques. Advanced, as the name says, you are using artificial intelligence. What do I read? All the earlier techniques, if I say plus AI, plus AI, plus AI, they are advanced techniques to keep it very simple. So I have machine learning based threat detection. I have threat detection earlier. Now machine learning based threat detection. Behavioral analytics. Standard traditional techniques doesn't have the intelligence to analyze behaviors. Patterns, yes, but no behavior analysis. Zero trust architecture. You build your architecture in such a way that you don't trust. I teach blockchain technology, and that is what I say in the first class. You live in a world where you cannot trust anyone. You live in the most untrusted world. You don't trust anyone. Now you design your architecture in such a way that, right, you don't say this is my friend's system, this is my friend's node, or this is my friend's server, and no, nothing is trusted. Then based on that architecture, see, earlier old architectures are designed based on some assumptions. Internal users will not compromise with the data, right? I will be sharing data only to my friendly organization, sort of thing. No, when now zero trust architecture is the most prominent architecture for any new organizations trying to develop any framework, sort of thing. What is zero trust architecture? The very first assumption is that zero trust. Don't trust anybody. Now, when you don't trust anybody, how do you come up? Whom do you trust? The only thing that I trust is technology. The only thing that I trust is cryptographic and security techniques. Sandboxing, honeypots, blockchain security, all these come under advanced techniques. This I'll skip challenges of cybersecurity techniques because of this AI has come. Challenges are, huge data, constantly coming, constantly coming threats, what we call them as zero-day attacks. You don't have any day, you don't have any spare day to prepare for that attack, right? So they are zero-day attacks. Cost. What else? Okay, all these are issues with cybersecurity, but we'll come to the actual part. If I look at the challenges, I have few technical challenges, organizational challenges, and then operational challenges. Technical challenges are the techniques that are there now are giving me false positives. What is a false positive? Sorry?
Confusion matrix.
It is coming in confusion matrix, but what is the false positive? He is a valid user. I fail to recognize him as a valid user. Right? Two things, false positive, false negative. Both are dangerous. False positive, valid user, I am failing to recognize him as valid user and I am not giving access. False negative, he is an invalid user, but then I am giving access. Both are dangerous. Zero-day attacks, I am not prepared with. Encryption challenges are there. Encryption challenges is that the base rule of thumb for encryption is that if your data is this much, you apply encryption, it becomes this much. And imagine we have this much of data now. And then encrypting it comes with its own challenges. Integration issues, cloud security, multi-cloud security, all these things have opened up to a lot of domains where your data is being stored in multiple places. That is creative. Organizational challenges is not under our scope. We can't increase the budget. We can't. Security awareness sessions we do, but how many of them do they really follow and all is something. Why is AI required? So many things. But before going to the case study, I'll show you one video. The rest of all is avukatandi. అవకత నిన్నేం నేర్చుకున్నాము? We say data collection, data pre-processing, apply a ML model. Either it is LSTM, either it is GNN, either it is RNN. Apply it, predict the possible patterns. Same అదే అవకత కనిపిస్తుంది. Only thing different అవకత ఇక్కడ different ఆవ్ ఏంటి అని అంటే what are the patterns that you are looking for? In traffic you have patterns, but in security you may not have patterns because some threats you are not prepared for. So you may not have established patterns the way we have in traffic prediction, the way we have in the earlier case studies. So I'll play a video for you. I'm glad the audio is also coming. A short 1 minute. What is it that the girl have done? Did she access any illegal websites? Did she kept her data purposefully on social media? No, it's a simple young girl trying to celebrate her birthday, trying to celebrate her graduation, taking a selfie with her friend. These are the so casual things that happen in our daily life. Right. This is not a scenario where the actual the girl in that video is trying to access something dangerous in unauthorized or a unprotected website, or trying to purposefully share the data. And we know many of our friends do keep information like they're going on a trip, traveling to so and so place, catching this flight, coming back, all this information on a social media. And if you look at that particular thing, your data was not compromised in a single attempt, and it generally never happens. Your data will not be compromised in a single attempt or on a single attack. Your data to be compromised needs multiple attempts, continuous monitoring. The way we do continuous monitoring of our devices and networks, attackers also have a monitoring and surveillance strategy. That the recent thing, the Iran leader who was shot dead, how are his movements monitored? That is fine, but how long are they monitored? They are monitored for 3 years, historical data. Patterns are created. AI help is taken and all that is thing. But the thing is that, and they didn't use one tool to monitor his activities. CCTV cameras only gave data about his possible transport or commuting in the city on possible days. Every single detail from his assistants, the shift duties of the assistants, the possible buildings he will be accessing, lot of things. So who will give access to the shift duties of his assistant? So you can see how much of data. And do you think that data will be constant? Suppose, of course, he is a big leader and he has some assistants and they work with him on a shift duties. But do you think that data will be the same across 3 years? The same shifts work? No. Right? The same people may not be also working. Right? So your attacks generally need to realize that it doesn't happen one day. A data leak here, a data leak there, a data leak somewhere else, unknowingly. The credit card information she didn't give, but it was there in the image. All these things lead to attacks. Sorry. Then we need AI as usual, because we have large volumes of data. Regular techniques will not help. Manual analysis of the data will be difficult and all. You have AI-based malware detection. This is a simple setup of AI-based malware detection where you will have your malware and benign samples. Not only the naive samples or benign samples, malware samples also need to be there in your environment setup to create patterns or to identify patterns. These are the techniques that we'll be looking into. Cuckoo, Sandbox, VirtualBox are all those tools that we'll be using for monitoring both on Ubuntu and Windows operating systems. And then this is your analysis environment. Every time this monitoring tools, what they do, they create memory images. They create memory images. The way we create disk images for forensic techniques, monitoring tools also create memory images. What are memory images? In a given glance, you will be able to get certain parameters of the image. Based on that, your feature extraction happens. To which network it is connected to, are there any SQL injection queries that are given to and all. And based, when you are looking at, okay, I have missed that pre-processing phase. We are assuming that pre-processing happens. Then once your features are extracted, you go for that clean data set and the regular thing. You go for training, testing, SVM. Now don't ask me which technique is good for malware detection, which technique is good for intrusion detection, which technique is good for packet sniffing. Lot of research is there on that. Right, for this condition, for this type of data set, this is the thing. We have lots of information available. But on a regular basis, this is how it happens for any malware detection system. And then when it comes to detecting your anomalies have different categories. Some are time-based anomalies, Right. Some are count-based anomalies, and some are pattern-based anomalies. If you look at count-based anomalies, generally DDoS attacks. Right. 100 is your regular traffic, but if it is 10,000, it is a count-based anomaly. Then pattern-based anomalies is that for the packets you will have signature stamps. If it is if your pattern is not matching, we generally do that in which technique? You match the signature patterns, malware detection only. Then if your pattern doesn't match, there is the anomaly. Time-based anomalies are those anomalies where people try to take advantage of certain scenarios. See, generally in the end of the financial year, there will be so many phishing attacks. In the end of financial year, there will be so many what you call financial I'll not call financial frauds, attacks like pensioners get a call saying that financial year is closing, we need to do that, you have some arrears, you share this information. Old people generally share those information, and then in the rush to upload your advanced tax returns and all, many of the business people get trapped into this time-based anomalies because you are running out of time and you try to give away some information which is not supposed to give. And based on those, you provide insights and take action. Majorly 5 steps are there. You have to get the baseline data from a range of sources. See, in the earlier networking part, getting baseline data is relatively easy. You have lots of traffic on the roads, you have lots of traffic on the network, you get the data. Getting baseline data for malware detection, for any virus detection is difficult. Why is it so? Don't we have malware attacks? Don't we have virus attacks? We have lot of attacks. But then the next malware attack is not of the same pattern. That data will not help you. That pattern will not help you to identify another malware of the same form because the next malware is not of the same form. The next malware is same technique applies even if it is virus also. So getting that baseline data is a very big thing. Then you train the model, which is what we do regularly. Then you make predictions and compare real data to training data. You trigger your automated process, notify security teams like incident response, block the packets, block the user and all the things. Monitor results will be tweaked and updated as needed. The only problem with all this thing is that you don't have baseline data. The rest all is the same. We know. Once we have the data, we know what to do. We do data processing, we normalize the data, we give it to models, you train the data and all these things we do. But then the same pattern is not carried in security techniques. That is where intelligence is required. We are running out of time, so I'll quickly go through the major steps. Malware entry point, where does it enter into your system? As long as your system is not connected to internet, your system is safe. The minute it is connected to any public network, it's no longer. How does a malware for me is a general term. You call it virus, you call it anything, any infection that enters into your system. How does it enter? Through external devices. You connect to a USB stick, chances are there malware may enter. Email attachments, malicious links that you get through emails, you download from to your Google Drive. Then there are some phishing emails or some suspicious emails asking you to click some what you call malicious link. Something gets downloaded into your. All these are entry points. Then your database, what is the next step? Your data collection. How do I collect the data? From log files majorly, then file system activity, network traffic, memory usage and all. For that, what do? I use tools such as Microsoft. Many of our laptops have Microsoft Defender as a tool. We don't even know that. By default, my laptop has Microsoft Defender tool within. CrowdStrike, Falcon, Darktrace, Wazoo, all these things, all these are certain security tools which will help you to collect your data sources. They will only collect the thing. Then feature extraction based on how many processes are created, file modification range, network connections, privilege escalation, if I am getting access to some other data to which I am not supposed to access. All these features will be extracted. A model analysis, this is a regular part. In any AI techniques, regular part. You use classification algorithms, deep learning algorithms, random forest, support vector, decision trees, and then deep learning, CNN, LSTM, autoencoder. Apart from that, you also have reinforcement techniques. This is, you have to identify, AI will be identifying suspicious behavior, abnormal process behavior, rapid file challenges. This is the place where traditional techniques fail. Traditional techniques will be able to identify only these, abnormal behavior if it is given in its code. If this is the pattern you alert us, then it will alert. It will not be able to identify a new pattern which looks abnormal. That is where AI is able to identify, or it is able to highlight new patterns which are suspicious in nature. Then it will be detecting ransomware, trojans, malware, polymorphic malware, all these things it is able to identify. Then automated response, you have to, if it is in a network, you have to isolate that system from the network, because chances it will spread to other systems. So you have to immediately shut down that system, or you have to kill the malicious process which has entered into your network, block the network connection. If it is a user, block that user. These things you have to do as an automated response. And then the data, whatever evidence you have collected, you have to give it for the next forensic investigation, where tools such as autopsy, volatility, Wireshark will help you to identify things. This is about malware. The earlier case study was about malware detection. Malware detection is that you have certain patterns of malware. I am trying to identify if a different pattern is coming. Then the other form is zero-day attack. Zero-day attack is that there is an attack where I don't have the pattern of that particular attack. I don't have historical data about that attack. I don't know if it is a possible attack or not also. But then also I should be able to do. In such a scenario, what is that technique that helps majorly in AI tools is that predictive analytics, behavioral analytics. These two techniques will help it to identify zero-day attacks. So to analyze these things, the software developers, any new software that they are coming, they generally upload the software to the server and they give public access to the software. This is what we call the trial version for debugging, for usage, and they'll ask us to report and give feedback to that. And then this is where both authorized, authenticated users and possible hackers will try to probe zero-day vulnerability. Here, an attacker can be an ethical hacker or a malicious attacker. Either way, they are trying to probe a zero-day vulnerability. If Microsoft have launched a new software or a new app, both the people are interested. Who is that? Ethical hacker and an attacker. Attacker, what will he gain? Of course, apart from the financial benefits and all, attacking or finding a loophole in a software which was released by Microsoft itself is a big thing. For ethical hackers, it is like an academic credit, right? So they'll exploit those zero-day vulnerabilities on the internet, where if it is an ethical hacker, the vulnerabilities will be disclosed to them, where they will do the patchwork for that. Otherwise, also people will get to know how it is being exploited. This I'll skip. This is same as the previous thing. Malware analysis detection, you have to identify the attack, data collection, feature extraction, anomaly detection. One thing that where we vary is that in the fifth step, where behavioral analysis will identify new behaviors. See, new behavior doesn't necessarily mean that it is a malicious behavior, but anomalytic behaviors have certain patterns based on the deep learning algorithms that are, did I give you the algorithms? I'll give you the algorithms and tools very soon. So they will identify unusual login behavior. What is an unusual login behavior? Every time I log into my Gmail from my laptop, I use some device in some other place is an unusual login behavior. Should system block me from logging in? No. Then what do? You go for a
One more.
Deterrent techniques like such as multi-factor authentication and all. And then comes digital forensics. Cyber security providing security, but digital forensics is one part of security where if at all an attack happens, you have to collect the evidence and all. This will give you the patterns, the possible, it's sort of damage has happened, right? You know normal forensics, right? A murder has happened in a room. What is it that the forensics collect? Evidences, exactly. What evidences do they think? Fingerprints in general, then hair samples if at all they are available, skin tissues if they are available, and then if there are any eatable things on their tea, coffee, some food, they'll collect it because based on that they will get some analysis. Now if we talk to digital forensics, computer forensics, these are the things that we look into. Disk forensics gives a lot of details about the type of the data that was there, if it is infected with any malware, or are there any files that were created or deleted very recently. You know, I give my disk for some CBI inquiry sort of thing. Hope that will not happen. But then, what is it that we do there? I delete all confidential files and give your disk forensics will be revealing that you have, and they will be able to recover them also. So is mobile forensics. Do we have that? Mobile forensics is there. And then database forensics. Anything that you do and is not visible openly will be able to detect in this. For all these forensic techniques will have majorly four things: evidence acquisition, evidence presentation, preservation, analysis, and reporting. Right. How do you collect the evidence? Then you have to preserve it carefully because you have to produce it in front of the court for submission. Analyze the evidence and come out with some, some conclusions, and then finally reporting. In these four steps, AI techniques will be available or useful in two steps. One is evidence acquisition, the other is evidence analysis. Preservation, you just do it normally. There is nothing much there. Reporting is also So the traditional forensic techniques, they identify how does the identification happens. The regular tools are there. So many forensic tools are there. Autopsy is there. Cyber check is there. So many tools are there. They identify the thing. But what happens? AI-powered forensic tools will have will make the forensic tool life easier by discovering files which are not visible openly. Preservation, yes, intelligent. The role of AI in this is very low relatively compared to the first and third step. This is where your data AI part comes more, right? Because what is it that you do in evidence analysis is that again you try to check for patterns. Every time when I say I have to find a pattern, I have to figure out or do some classification, clustering sort of things. Identifying pattern is basically classifying them, right, into certain patterns. Your AI tools come. Then do I have lot of data for me here? Forensics again have lots of data because based on the historical data, so many disks and all that you have. And there are a lot of data sets available also for forensic things. This I will skip. What are the AI techniques used in digital forensics? The regular machine learning algorithms, random forest, SVM, decision trees, naive Bayes, and all these things. Deep learning algorithms, CNN, RNN, LSTM, transformers, auto-encoding techniques are also used. AI techniques for NLP and computer vision, because most of the digital data is either in text form or in audio video form. Images, audio video form. So NLP and computer vision techniques will help to do these things. And then graph analytics and behavioral analytics. If you look at what is the architecture, this is how you look into that. Digital evidence sources have to be collected. Evidence acquisition, then after your evidences are there, you process them the regular way. Remove duplicates, remove noise, normalize these techniques, and then feature extraction, AI model, evidence analysis, and report generation. This is a bank fraud investigation. when you look at banking applications, what are the who are the users that are connected to banking application? Generally, many people who open their accounts in that bank are connected to that banking application. But apart from that, there are so many organizations also that come into that particular bank. All these users and organizations give lot of banking historical data to the banking transactions, what all. See, banking again, unlike road traffic and network traffic, we cannot give away that data so easily. X have transferred so much money to Y, Z have transferred taken so much loan and all. So what we do here is that we use some techniques known as obfuscation techniques. What do obfuscation techniques do? They anonymize your data, right? So and so person has sent money to so and so. That so and so's are obfuscated. So when I give the data as a data set for any analysis, those names are obfuscated into something else, XYZ. And probably the amounts were also changed here and there to ensure that the correct data will not be going there for that part. So if there are any frauds or whatever that you have there, that will be collected as part of your data. These are regular processes in our AI techniques and all. But I think I have a better picture. So this is a multi-agent system which will be analyzing frauds that happen in many of the banking and financial sectors. If you look here, we are not using AI agent as one single scenario. We are using it at multiple scenarios. To start with, whatever data that I have from my internal file repositories, manual uploads, what all Excel sheets that I have there, that is the data that need to be checked. And many of the bank documents, checks especially, are not digital data. If I have to check, if I have to figure out if a check is forged check or not, can I give it in the form of an Excel sheet? What is the input that you can give to identify if a check is forged or not? Image of the check. Image of the check cannot be an Excel data, which is generally processed by our ML models. So we do OCP enabled information extraction from the document, where OCR techniques. What does OCR stands for? Character recognition. O stands for, I don't know. I'm not optical. No, optical is character recognition. Yes, optical. So, sir, so when you have a check, and when I do an OCR on that, what is it that I'll be able to retrieve? That is an image for me. So I should be able to retrieve check number, date, name, amount that was written on that. All of these are handwritten things. So your OCR techniques will retrieve all that information and give it to a AI agent. AI agent will build the knowledge graph. If there is a particular user, it will connect to that particular user, how many transactions he has made with multiple users on which day, and does it fall on the same day and all, and your LLM will assist to that. And then forgery, this OCR will is also helpful for forgery detection in images and videos. Videos in general banking application will not have, but will have lots of images, especially in banking application, in registration documents, where you will have so many forged documents, where you have a detection agent and a verification agent. Detection agent's job is to only highlight the anomaly behavior, whereas verification agent job is to identify or make sure if the anomaly is in fact actually an anomaly or just a red flag. And then after this verification and all is done, your KYC, KYB, know your business is done. Where is the fourth step? Then your domain, yesterday you asked for credit card fraud thing, no? This is it. Your domain expert agent will do the risk assessment. These are all based on lot of banking transactional data that you take for multiple users. Based on that, again, if you see either it is a forgery detection agent or some risk analyst agent, what all you have inside is AI techniques. Some may be using LLM, some may be using LSTM, some may be using graphical graphical neural networks and all. Their job is to identify anomaly behavior, highlight them, re-verify them again. And finally, your fraud evaluation report comes. But if you ask me what is the technique, no, there is no single technique that I can show you. This is the major AI architecture for digital forensic. If you see, after my networking talk, what all the case studies that I am talking are repetitive in nature, except for the data that you collect and the features that you select in that particular, in that particular case study. The rest of the process more or less seems to be there. You have to collect the data. From where do I collect the data and in which format I collect the data depends on the context, depends on the domain, depends on the project, depends on the technology that is available. So you can have tabular data, CSV files, APIs, streams, or even image data and video data. And then you will go for data ingestion and schema check, which is nothing but your data cleaning techniques altogether. You avoid duplication, you ensure cohesion and column mapping are done, missing values are removed, outlier handling is done. This is all part of your data pre-processing. And then you transform your data into one standard format, because ML models always need structured format data. So for that, I will try to transform my data into what if I get a video? What if I get an image? How do I convert it? Can I convert an image into Excel sheet? Can I convert a video into Excel sheet? ML models only understand Excel sheets. They don't understand images and videos. Will be converted. I told you, no, a check will be converted into an Excel sheet with certain parameters, the date. See, what all the parameters that you contain in a check is fixed. Okay, videos may have a different pattern, but most of the images, if you look at a land registration document, what all the details that you have, can I convert it into an Excel sheet? Because you have standard things, the buyer, seller, date, amount, address, fixed fields will be there. Right? You will not generate new data from that, but yes, for each column it is different. Then feature engineering, dimensionality reduction, data training and evaluation. The rest all is the regular. Data pipeline session is done for you, right? Yes. AI data pipeline. So, these are the algorithms, more or less same like cybersecurity thing. I'll give you the tools thing. These are the tools if you want to, check with it. For evidence acquisition, the forensic tools are used are APSCHE, Slothkit, FTK, Imager, foremost. Okay, and if you want Indian tools, CDAC, you can visit CDAC Cyber Forensics, where they have multiple security tools which we can download and experiment with. They have a security tool known as CyberCheck for this evidence acquisition. And then they have a, CDAC also have a forensic tool named Photo Examiner. So you give a photo to that in form of JPEG file or PNG file. It will give you the metadata of that particular photo. It will give you a lot of information of that photo. You can try it with a normal photo, you can try it with an AI photo and see how the parameters vary. And then to identify malware forensics, these are the AI based tools, Yara, Cuckoo, Sandbox. For network forensics, Wireshark, Network Miner. Memory forensics, Volatility and Recall are the popular time. Network Miner is also there. Yeah, Network Miner is for network forensics. So you are coming up with solutions. So the only problem with AI based solutions is that you will not know why it has come out with that thing. Especially deep learning algorithms are like a black box to us. So explainable AI solutions are what research is going into. Looking for hybrid models. Do you think AI based security solutions are good? What is your say on that? done. 2 minutes. We have seen so many number of slides, case studies I haven't discussed because of lack of time. But then, yes, it assists you, it gives you so much of data. But at the same time, DL algorithms require lot of data. And who gives that data? As I told you, your single mobile phone with all that 50, 60 apps gives a pattern of your life. You give your phone to any forensic tool. Again, there is no one single forensic tool that can trace all the data. But a few cybersecurity tools and a few forensic tools put together, if they scan your mobile phone, they'll give you a pattern of your data. You may not even have realized that this much of data is available in that thing. So a lot of research opportunities are there on deep fake forensics, cloud, blockchain, and AI explainability forensics. Advantages are faster investigation, improved accuracy, automated analysis. Good. But the only concern of using AI in security solutions is that security itself involves lot of surveillance. You call it monitoring, you call it CCTV surveillance, you call it punch cards, you call it anything, but involves lot of surveillance. And you are basically keeping your private life on a public platform. That is the only concern. So the takeaway of this session is that AI can be used as an assistant for security solutions, but AI itself cannot be made as a security solution. Thank you.
So are we ready to start? Okay. So today there are two parts to your lab, as you know. One is the part where we use some AI tools to generate interactive quizzes, question papers and such things for the students. The second part is on detecting fake images, fake pictures, various fake data. Okay. Or at least trying to see if something is AI generated or something is by us. Right? So these are the two parts. So we'll quickly get an overview, and then actually it's all hands-on. You'll have to do these things yourself. So there are some nice online tools which we can use to create quizzes and question papers for students. Okay. So one of them is small PDF. So you just upload a PDF file which contains whatever material from which you want to give the quiz, and then it can create multiple choice, true or false, or even open-ended questions. And then it will also give possible answers for them, okay, so that we have a pretty good idea of what to do. Second is NoteGPT, yet another AI tool. This actually we find creates pretty good quality questions. You can give documents, you can give PowerPoint presentations, you can give PDF, you can even give image files. So even if it can generate some questions based on the image. Okay. And there are some options available in this. You can ask for a certain number of questions, certain level of difficulty, easy, medium or hard, or difficult I think is the third category, and can handle documents even in some Indian languages. So I've seen that it can do Telugu, at least I tried once for Telugu. My mother tongue is also Telugu, so it works for Telugu. Though the questions it generates are not as good as the ones it generates when I give an English document. Okay. Then the standard LLMs are there, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. All these can generate question answer for questions and answers from various kinds of documents that we give. Makes our life simple, but then remember that students are also using the same tools, so they also know what kind of questions these AI tools generate. They also know what kind of answers AI tools are giving, so they'll prepare for them and write. So you have to be careful. We as teachers, we have to be one step ahead of them, otherwise we are in trouble, right? And the other thing where what's there in the syllabus that was sent to me is to make you use vibe coding tools to do some programming of these quizzes. Actually, it's quite easy for LLMs to generate programs. And the advantage of having these is that we can create our own quizzes with our own questions and our own answers. That's the only advantage. But there is a big problem with them too. You need to have a pretty good knowledge of how to program yourself. Otherwise, the code that they give is fairly complex, and sometimes it will have some small errors in them, and you need to know enough of programming to correct the errors to make that work. Also, it will require you to install some kind of software packages which may or may not always exist on our systems. Because when you use any LLM and ask these, right, the LLMs will produce the latest, they'll use the latest tools and they'll give you these quizzes. But the latest tools may not be available on our systems and we may have to install them. So it requires a bit of knowledge of programming, a bit of knowledge of computer science before we can use these interactive questions straight away from the vibe coding. But I will demo this using the Gemini AI Studio, Google AI Studio, and we'll see how those things go, right? So we'll start with that. So what we'll do is first let's use small PDF. Okay, the website is right there, so you can probably go to that website. I should have made it a hyperlink, I forgot, but yeah. So if you do that, you should get a page that looks like this, right? So if you have any PDF on your system, or you can download a PDF from the web, anything, okay, take something, type introduction to AI or something and get a PDF from the web, you can upload it. So what I will do is I will see if I have something. Yeah, type smallpdf.com/question generator, question-generator. So I have some PDF that I'll drop there. This PDF is on the towers of Hanoi problem in computer science. What is your background? Computer science. So you know the towers of Hanoi problem? Yeah. So this is a PDF of the towers of Hanoi problem. It asks the question, when does the world end? And we know the answer, when the 64th disk is moved, the world ends. And when does the 64th disk move? At what time? You have any idea of how many steps it takes to solve the towers of Hanoi problem? If I have n disks, how many steps do I need to solve the towers of Hanoi? You have 2 power n minus 1. So for 64 disks, it's 2 power 64 minus 1. So that's a long time. So now that's the thing there. And you can ask for multiple choice questions, ask it to generate questions. It will do something and it will generate questions. Did it do that? You have some questions there. So what's the formula to calculate the number of steps to solve the n disk problem, it asked me. What kind of questions did it give you? Actually want to check if you get the same questions or if you have different questions. Right, so it generated questions for you. I think it generates by default 5 questions. Yeah, it generates 5 questions. You can also ask for open-ended questions. Try clicking that. Create open-ended questions. So you can generate multiple choice, fill in the blank, open-ended question. True or false or open-ended questions. So it generated some open-ended questions. Now it's asking, what's the significance of the Tower of Hanoi problem in the context of computer science? How does it relate to recurrence relations? Right? Some other question. So here we also have our story about Towers of Hanoi, which is Brahma's story. How many of you know that? Brahma's story. The story is supposed to be, see, this person Lucas, I think, is the guy who created this problem. And apparently Lucas visited India before he created this problem, and he was inspired by a story that's there in India. The story is about the Tower of Brahma. So at one time the sages in Naimisaranya, they decided that they should find out when the world ends, and they sent 2 of them to Brahma. So Brahma told them that, look, when you go back in the city of Kashi, you will find 3 towers, and one of the towers, the one on the north, will have 64 discs, golden discs of different sizes. You have to move these golden discs to the southern tower and use the tower on the east as the temporary one. And he gave the 2 rules. You can never put a larger disk on a smaller disk. You can never move more than 1 disk at a time. And he said, the day you complete moving that 64th disk onto the southern tower, the world will end. You will get pralayam. So that's the story which inspired Lucas. So I usually like to refer to it as the Tower of Brahma because that's the origin of this story. And the story, of course, the legend says that there are sages, and if you have what is that, Attvajnanam and Jnana Drishti, you can see those see those two sages still moving the discs near Kasi, and they're of course still doing that. They're not even halfway there. If we look at it, see, our universe is supposed to be about 14 billion years old. And if you convert 2 power 64 minus 1 into seconds, it will come to about 500 billion years. So we have a long way to go. So you can get these questions, and then if you hit this download, okay, it will just save them as text for you, text file for you. Okay. It will just save it as a text file for you, and the questions will be there with the answers at the end. So it will give you the answers. Open-ended questions, again the questions, and then the answers. So you get the whole thing downloaded in text form. It's very easy for us to then put it in a Word document or something and create a question paper, right? So try playing these. How did you get different questions or did you get the same questions? Tell me your question number 2. Oh, you uploaded a different PDF. What did you give? What did you give as the PDF? Huh. And what was the question it gave you? Some question, read. Okay. So what options did it give? Quite good, right? So it will give pretty decent things, and the only thing you have to remember is students also know this. So they will also be using the same questions to prepare for your exam. This one supports all these, but some of them are paid options, or not paid options, you have to register. You have to register in some of them. Okay.
Same thing we can do in Gemini Pro at all.
You can.
There are the free versions available, Pro.
Many of these are free things that are there. Yeah, correct. Don't be so sure now. Gemini Pro has become, they are asking you to do postpaid now based on usage. Some versions of it, they'll suddenly hit you with a 3 lakh bill. Correct. The second thing that I would like you to try is try Node GPT. Again, the URL is there. It is, I got 2 of them, sorry, remove one of them, there's a typo. nodegpt.io AI question generator. Okay, so this is another. So again, you can upload some file there, and in this they'll give you some options. You can test the options also. Okay. And if you have any local language file also, you can try. It's not so good, but it is okay. So you can help your Telugu teachers also in the college. So again, I'll do the same thing because that's easy for me. Yeah, I can give it to you. So try uploading the same file that you did earlier, so you can compare the questions. This one takes a little longer. And then you can ask it to generate the quiz. It will give you the quiz as a box here. Once it creates it, that box comes there. Oh, so it has given the full thing, so must have selected something later. These are the questions I have. You'll get other questions, so let me take these down. You're not interested in this, actually. This is AI question generator of NodeGPT. This is nodegpt.io. So you'll get different questions, probably slightly different answers. Okay. So that's something. So did you try that? Okay, maybe one of you can tell me what you uploaded and give me an example question. Any volunteers? What is it? Okay. Okay. Options. Dartmouth conference. Okay. Also, I think this can read out the questions because there is an audio symbol there. So it will do that. So we have a lot of these options. You can use any of the standard LLMs also, Gemini, Pro, Claude, any of them will give you. Okay. Yeah. Can you publish this as a link? The answer is yes, if you get a, what is that, paid version, I think. It requires you to have a paid version to publish. Yesterday we tried it. I think it asked Salman some money. It's much easier to download it and then create your own HTML file and publish it. It is at least free. Do that. So there are many tools like these. Yeah. Then great. Some tools do, some tools don't, and also depends. Because yesterday I think we tried to create 2-3 quizzes. After some point it said, sorry, you have to pay. So you can try different things. It does. It is free for some time. Okay, so these are some of the things that are already there, and you generate the question, it generates the questions for you, gives everything. But you can also use Claude or ChatGPT or any of them. I mean, all you have to do is log in there. Same thing, upload a file, ask it, they'll generate. But what I want to show you, because we were told that we have to leave you at 12. Okay. Is there any? I can, not that I'm aware of. There's only one interesting thing I'll tell you. If you want something which is more in tune with our, these days AICTE and others, they ask you Bloom's taxonomy and so on of questions, create, understand, all this, right? There's another tool called QuestGen, QUESTGEN. So there's a tool like this. The only reason I'm not showing this is that we'll waste time registering for that. Okay, you have to use your Google or any account to register for it. It is free, but you have to register, and that takes time. So this one is very interesting because I'll see if I can show the options for this. Yeah, see here there is Bloom's question levels. So this allows you to choose your level, the Bloom's taxonomy level for questions. Okay. On a specific Bloom level. So it gives an example here of simple text. Okay. Something about Elon Musk. And you can select a question at, see, these are our Bloom's taxonomy levels. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create, and so on. So you can choose a question at that level. This is the best I could find when we want to tailor something to our type of regulatory frameworks. This is something I found. So any other questions? It didn't work well. Okay. It gave questions in English. Okay. You choose that language as Telugu and still gave you English. But did it give meaningful questions? Yeah. So even if you give a Telugu document, it gave questions in English, but meaningful questions. What is that? No, the options are limited sometimes. Yeah. Because many of these things, they'll just give you the basic stuff as free, and after that, they'll start charging you. So, yeah. Okay. So, in the interest of time, let's also do that vibe coding part. Okay. So, basically, vibe coding is when we ask some AI tool to generate questions and a tool for us, a complete tool. Okay. Where am I? I'm on so many different systems now, I'm getting confused. Yeah. So the easiest for this is to use Gemini because that's available everywhere, right? So we can use either you can call it Google AI, or it doesn't matter what you give here, it knows what it is. Google AI Studio. So it gives you all these. There are so many things available, but we can just go and get started. So I'll use a Gmail account, because the reason is it doesn't allow me to, our university I don't think allows us to use these tools. Somewhere there is a block, so I have to use my personal account. So log in and you should get something like this. Press get started, you will get this. You can simply go to build. Okay. And give a prompt. I don't know, I think this is part of your syllabus, so they gave me a prompt. So I'll ask you to try similar things, if I can find the prompt. Yeah, it says build an interactive quiz app for students. I'll also type that, with multiple choice questions. Build an interactive quiz app. You can type that here. Build an interactive quiz app for students with multiple choice questions. Build an interactive quiz app for students on AI fundamentals with multiple choice questions. Sorry, AI. That is what somebody gave me with MCQs. The good thing about Google and Gemini is we don't have to worry about spelling mistakes, abbreviations, and so on. It knows. It knows what you want it to do. Okay. So it will give you all kinds of tips while you wait. Generally ignore them, because your exercise somewhere says you can also put a timer for your questions. That also you can build into the prompt. So are you trying this? It usually takes about a minute, 1 minute. So right now it's around 30-40 seconds. Takes about a minute. Yeah. So there you go. You get your quiz, which is an interactive quiz now. Okay. Yeah, start the quiz and see what it gives. Oh, all of you are getting the same questions? Okay. But here, this is not the point. The point we are trying to see is, see, there is a code here. Okay. If you select that, this is the code it has generated for that program. So that interactive quiz is coming by running this code here. Okay. And that code you can download. This code you can download as a zip file. So you get the whole code. Okay. There's the zip file. But here is the key. You need to know the technologies if you have to use it properly. See, download it and try what it says. That will be in the README file. This is what it says after you download. It says install dependencies and all this. I don't know how many of these systems have those software packages installed. Okay. And for most of us teachers, these are hard. We have to go to our students and say, please do this for us. Okay. No. It needs all these things, which is it's a complete app which is built on top of something called React technology. So that React technology is there in this Node.js. That Node.js has to be installed to get React to work. It is there. No, it shows only the dummy thing, but you have to install this and then you have to run this. And what happens in this particular instance is, on most systems when you run this, you get an error. Okay. The reason is the version that they have assumed and the version that most of us have on our systems, if we have something, they're different. And in the older version, those things don't work. So we have to edit something in the things, and you need to know. And that is where the difficulty is when we do vibe coding. True, in 1 minute I got the code, but then I need to find a student and tell the student, please make it working for me. Right? And then the student will get it working for you. After that, everything is fine. The main thing about this is that if you go to that source, there will be a file called this, app.tsx. Okay. This is the file which contains the questions, I think, unless I am mistaken. No, sorry, this is not the. Yeah. Start quiz, 10 questions. Sorry, this is not the file. I'm sorry. I unnecessarily made you open that. Go back.
Question.
Yeah, there will be one file name which will have the things. Where is that? Yeah, you should get that, because even I should get it somewhere. You got it? Yeah, okay, good. Because the questions will be in that. So if you change the questions in that file, automatically your interactive quiz will show the new questions next time you run it. So that way, that's the advantage you get when you do vibe coding and get your own program. Because I can put my own questions in that questions file and it will show them. Whereas the other ones, we have to keep uploading something and wait for it to give us the questions. Okay, we can take some of those questions, we can add our questions. But as I said, the difficulty is to know programming and then do this. Okay. So that's why I bring my student Salman, research scholar, because that guy is good. He does the job. Right? So any questions? So there are two ways we can do question papers automatically. One is use the online tools directly, whether it's an LLM or something. Other is to use something more specialized, like that Node GPT or small PDF or QuestGen, The third is to do this kind of vibe coding, and then we can edit the question files and so on. Okay. We can also change the marks for the questions and such things when you have this. Each has its own advantages, disadvantages. You guys should find what is right for you. What's going on? Sometimes I wonder what happens to all these things. It doesn't want to go full screen. Okay. Oh, why is it in this? Did I lock something here? Okay. Doesn't matter. So we'll go to the second part of it now. Okay. And oh, why did it come here? We'll go to the second part. So we know that today AI can generate images, videos, anything you want. So in this part of it, we'll look at a couple of online tools which will tell us if something is a fake or real, or something is AI generated or something is human generated. Now the point is that what is a deep fake? Right? What's a deep fake? So deep fake, there are many reasons why we generate images, videos and so on by giving text prompts to AI tools. Okay. Not all of them we call them deep fakes, okay, because they are created for a certain purpose, these kinds of images. If you create an image with the purpose of either fooling or misleading or cheating someone, then it becomes a deep fake. Okay. Otherwise, it's not really a deep fake. Because I may be generating pictures to put in my slides to make something clear for a student. AI may be generating them, but they're not deep fakes. Deep fake is when I generate a picture which is used specifically for the purpose of doing something wrong. So for example, there are photos which show, of course, various politicians dancing. It becomes a deep fake if that politician's dancing is used for some purpose which is not very legal. Otherwise, it's a joke. Right? So there are many such things. I mean, today the world is full of leaders who are just made for such things, right? So we are seeing so many of them. Now, here are some examples for you. There are two pictures here. Which, if any, is real? Which, if any, is fake? You have to tell me which one. That means first image of this AI generated. Second, may be true. Any, huh? AI generated. Both are AI generated. So we have all these kinds of things, right? I mean, so what are you looking for when someone asks this question? What do you look for in a photo to say whether it's a fake or real? Eyes, okay. Colors, edges, okay, background. So what specific things do we look for is the question. Okay. See, if we look at this, I mean, there's no harm somebody wearing these clothes. Things seem to be okay. Here also, what's wrong? Lighting, okay. Lack of reality. Okay, whatever that means. Yeah. So these are the kinds of things where we have interesting questions. These are easy questions, but there are many places where it's very difficult. I deliberately chose easy things because both of them are fake. Both are fake. Okay, they are deliberately chosen. This one is done to tell the story of the Tower of Brahma to the students. So these are the people who are praying or sitting near the city of Kasi on the banks of Ganga. So AI faithfully gave me that image. I said it's fine. This one is from a site called This Person Does Not Exist. So that keeps generating AI faces for you. So you can type that www.thispersondoesnotexist.com. Yeah, the site name is thispersondoesnotexist.com. If you type that, you'll get some face. Okay. And they're all AI generated. Right. So now there are a couple of, so this is what makes it very interesting. I mean, AI is generating the fakes, and we are trying to use AI tools to tell what is AI generated. So you're asking someone who generated the image to say whether it's fake or real. Will it work for humans? Supposing I generate a photo and you ask me, is that a real or fake one? What will I answer? See, humans are very dangerous that way. AI, unfortunately, is not so dangerous at this point. It hasn't learned fully the art of telling a lie. So we can still ask. There are two tools here, Deepfakeometer and Decopy AI, which are used, which are given for you. So let's do those things. So we'll go to our browser. Now type decopy.ai. Okay, so you get this. So it will also give you things like if student submits something, is that generated by AI or is that written by a student? But you can look at the products that they have. Okay. AI content. AI image detector is what we want. So go to products, detection, AI image detector. And if you do that, it will ask you to drop an image there. Hopefully there are some photos on your desktops here. If not, download some photo. Maybe that this person does not exist.com. Okay. So we can upload a photo here. Fine. Let me see if I can find something. Anything. We'll just pick a photo, upload it there. So what's interesting is you should also look at what it is doing here. See that. It says this image is likely human generated. AI generated probability is 1%. Okay. and it will give you an analysis report why it thinks it is not AI generated. Anyway, this is a real photo, so it doesn't make any issue. So you try with some of your photos and let's see. Or give something from this person doesn't exist.
This image is likely human.
Exactly. So he has tried something with this person does not exist. He uploaded that photo, and what's the percentage it gave you? 0% AI probability for this person does not exist. Okay. He is existing. It is human generated, it says. It is generated by AI. Correct. Any of the others, what did you get? Okay. So is it a real photo? Yes. So there's no problem. Your passport photo. Huh. Any others? Hmm? Okay. Try with different images and then you'll see. If there are some other photos, you can try. Let me also try with the same, this one. Where's my thing? I'll try giving the same this person does not exist picture to this. Oh, already? Yesterday it didn't happen that way. So wait. Where's my mouse? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me try. So I gave the same image I showed you. Yeah, now it'll, okay. So if I get this, then I know it's not going to work because what it'll tell me is that there is too much demand. It puts that message. It doesn't tell you that you have to pay me. It puts it more politely. It'll make you wait like this and then it'll say there is too much demand, you have to wait. So you feel that it's been polite to you, so it's like at least you don't want to fight with it. We can learn these tricks. How I wish our some of the government officials say these things when they're sitting at the counter. See, the current demand is high. Please be patient. Okay. Then the other tool that we have is something called deep fakeometer. This is a university tool. So, yeah. This is a university tool. It's developed at University at Buffalo in the US. And you have to sign in to submit any data. But I think I can do that. Actually, I don't think I signed up before. So let me. So you guys should try this and sign up. Huh? It is a deep fakeometer. So if you go back, deep fakeometer. So we are almost done. But the only thing is you have to sign up for this. Okay. Let's follow. Whatever. I thought I had. Oh, okay. So we can click or drag a file there. So I'm going to send this person does not exist file. Oh, wait. I dropped it into the wrong place. Oh no. So what this does is, because it's a university generated software, it is going to look at a variety of other AI architectures, AI tools that are there on the web. So it will give this image to all these and ask them for their, should I say opinion, because AI tools, I don't know if we should say opinion, their decision about these things. So it goes and it will check against these different things. Each of them is an AI architecture, and I don't know. No. So you submit it, then it will give you just some probabilities and decision on based on all the results it gets. So it's like it's asking 10 people and finding their opinions and puts them together and gives you some answer. Okay. So we'll see what it says. You can also try by uploading some image and seeing what happens. But just to conclude, because in the interest of time, you have any questions? See, to me it is strange that first we have AI generating mistakes, then we are asking the same AI, are you generating mistakes? Correct. See, all of you are Telugu people, so we have a lot of Sametalu, which will be very valid here. So so then the reason why we are doing that, all these things, is that we are teachers. Our jobs are becoming harder because students know a lot more than we do, and students will be submitting these kinds of things to us, and we need to know how to handle such situations. Okay. We cannot ban the tools, we should not also, but we should know when students are using the tools, which tools they are using, and so on. So we have to know what they can do. See, like the question generators, for example, if we generate questions using the tool and give as a question paper, it's almost like a question paper leakage, but the leak is done not by a human being or purposefully, but students also use the same tools. So even if not all the questions, there will be several overlapping questions. So they'll get them right. So we need to know what we are doing. That's the reason why we are doing this lab. Otherwise, we don't need to. Right? Oh, this is taking a long time. Oh, it has given AI generated likelihood is 74% according to this tool, 40%. This one says only 1.4% that it is AI generated. This one is saying 99% that it is AI generated. This one says 0% AI generated likely. So each of these tools, so this is something I wanted to show you specially because we don't have the technology at this point to say authoritatively that something is a fake or something is generated by humans. Okay, there is no authoritative tool right now. And because of that, there's a lot of scope for work in these areas even today. So the message is that generation by AI is very good. Detection by AI is not so good, and because it is AI, we can be charitable. We can say it is just that we don't have the technology. If it is human beings, we have a completely different reason. We don't need to be true. So that is a message. So we'll stop here. Almost exactly after 12 we are stopping, and if you have any questions, I'll answer. Huh. Show me. Show me.
I asked Gemini to do this.
Huh.
The image was spoiled. It gave this image. Then again I asked AI to repair the image. Then it repaired. After that, this is the repaired.
No, there are many interesting things that AI does. Okay. Sometimes you may have to work for 2 hours to get an image properly. It will keep generating images for you. So, yeah. It is still doing analysis. Today it is somehow very slow, I think. Anyway, that's okay. Sometimes it's slow. Because we are all trying it, it can be slow, so that's okay. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much, and hopefully you'll be able to tell your students, hey, we also know a few tricks. Okay, so thank you for that.